A big hello and welcome. It's Kate from Zen Stitching, and I'm super excited to join you today as part of our Making Zen online series. Today, I am super delighted to be joining Jody Alexander in her amazing looking studio and do a deep dive into what makes her tick as an artist. A big hello and welcome, Jody.
Hello, thank you for having me.
Oh, it's always lovely to connect with you, and I admire your artistic practice so much. So I love having a conversation with you to find out a little bit about what inspires you, and what's working next. And I think one of the reasons why I really um, connect with you is because you have a creative practice, teaching practice, and you also have an artistic exhibition practice as well. So it's a really lovely combination of all three. One of the things that I really admire about your artistic practice, Jody, is that in addition to your teaching, you also love to exhibit your artwork. And this I really admire because it means that you're taking a lot of what you're creating and putting it in a public realm for people to see and experience. And I'd love to know a little bit about the current exhibition that you have on at the moment.
What do I have going on right now? I'm in a group show now in Santa Cruz. It's only up for another week and a half, but I have some of my Aqua Lab pieces in that. And that's the series that I'm working on now, have been working on for 2 years. Is that right? Yes. I've been working on it for over 2 years. I don't see an end in sight working on it. So I've been exhibiting that a little bit. I had a solo show um, in a really lovely gallery in Santa Cruz that was a great size. It was, maybe considered a small gallery, but when you're having to fill that whole small gallery, it's a lot. So
Mm.
I like a space like that that's really tangible for me. And I did an installation
Oh, nice.
of my Aqualab pieces that are about my explorations during my open water swimming, about attempting to answer the question of what is the allure of water for all of us that are
Mm.
obsessed with being in it. um, and that's kind of an unanswerable question. So that's what's fun about this project is I'm just exploring the different aspects of it. And a lot of what it's come down to is color.
Yes.
Every body of water I swim in is a different color, and I was noticing in all of these lakes. I swam in about 20 lakes here in the Sierra Nevada foothills, and they all have their own personality. And
Mm.
so I take underwater photos during my open water swims, and I'm collecting them. And then I do wall pieces and little books. I'm making a little library of sampler books. As well as objects. I've made like a swimsuit. You can't wear it, but it's a swimsuit shaped thing, and caps like that looks kind of like my neoprene cap that I wear during cold swims. And it's just been so much fun. And I've kind of approached it like kind of a quasi-scientist who's trying to answer a question. And so I'm
Mm.
collecting data, I'm collecting temperature of the water, the color of the water, altitudes of my swims, the lengths, all of these things, and working the data into the images. So
Ah,
anyway, so that's been really fun. I'd like to exhibit it more. I'm going on more and more international swims. I've been done some Australia swimming, some Mexico swimming, and then of course U.S. and ocean and lakes. And I hope to have a Switzerland lake swim soon
ooh.
here. And I'd love to go to the Caribbean and Bali and Japan. I'd like to do Japan. So
Mm.
I see this project lasting me my lifetime. Yeah,
Oh, how fascinating. I
yeah.
love hearing that. And when you say you do your open water swims, are you part of an open water swimming team or community?
We have a group. We have a small group up here in the foothills where I am, where we just text each other, say where's our next swim, and we gather and we go. It's very unofficial. And then when I'm in Santa Cruz, which where is the other place where I find my time, sometimes I go on solo swims there. Sometimes I'll just text a friend, or sometimes I'll meet up with a group. There's a group that meets regularly, and sometimes I'll meet up with them.
Yeah.
Um, yeah.
And when you say open water, to me, that makes me think of large expanses of water. Does that mean a large, like a long duration swim as well?
Yeah, we usually go, usually an hour, 2 miles, or 2 miles plus, about an hour. That's kind of a sweet spot for me. Yeah, that's kind of good for me. But when I went to Baja, I went with a group, and we went on 2 good swims a day. That was a lot of time in the water.
My goodness, admiring you because an hour of swimming, like you say, is about 2 miles. So that's a lot of
Yeah,
swimming.
or a little more. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I was a competitive swimmer when I was young, so swimming is probably easier than walking for me, which sounds really weird, but it is.
So it's kind of like you feel like you're going home every time you
Yeah,
swim.
I'm just very comfortable in the water. I float. I don't, I'm just very comfortable.
Do you
Yeah.
have a favorite place that if you're very comfortable in the water?
There's one lake up here that for some reason it's always a little bit warmer, and the water is this beautiful aqua, and it's a little milky because it has red dirt on the shores, and I think the
Mm.
minerals mix and make it milky, and so we feel a little more buoyant in that water. We call it the magic waters, and I think again it's the minerals perhaps, but
Mm.
yeah, it's pretty. I think those are my favorite swims up there, just because how I feel and the visuals too. The color of the water I've figured out is very important. Yeah, because if I'm in a murky, dark water, I'm just like I need to get out of here.
Completely. Oh, yes.
It's
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah.
So what? Yeah, it doesn't have to be clarity. It has to be light though, light and beautiful. Because I've been in real kind of milky, because again, the minerals I think create kind of a milky water. So sometimes there's not a lot of clarity, but a lot of light is coming in and creating these really light greens, like blues, aquas, and I love that.
Mm. Well, some places that spring to mind when you're sharing your love of water and the color of water. Two that really stood out in my travels is the waters in New Zealand. They
Oh,
they have a lot of
love to
lovely.
do
Oh
that.
yes, yes, absolutely. And so I think a lot of
Yeah.
it is the minerals again, so that you get these really
Mm,
icy blue colors,
yeah, yeah.
just stunning in color.
Hmm.
And so they're generally more of the rivers that you find there. And then
Mm,
there's something about the water of Croatia that really just kind of I guess it's that Mediterranean, crystal
yeah.
clear, really pretty. So,
Yeah, that's on my list. I've seen a number of groups that have gone there and some photos, and gorgeous. Yeah, yeah,
yeah, it
on
is.
the list.
Yes. Oh, good, good. And I have to admit it's on my list too because I've been there, but we went at a time when it was not warm enough to swim.
Mm,
Just wanted to go swimming, and it was at a time when the polar bear swimming wasn't really a thing. So you're like, oh no, it's too cold, so I'll have to wait.
yeah, yeah.
But
It's a different animal, yeah, because you're battling an extreme,
yes,
Yeah.
yeah, no, you might as well make it enjoyable if you're going to go
Right,
to have a pleasant environment and make sure that the
right,
water
yeah.
is warm enough. That does make a big difference, I think.
Hmm.
Yes. And talking about the colors, I'm looking at your Instagram page, and I really enjoy seeing how you've got with your Aqualab, you've got the different blues and all those beautiful colors. And then it contrasts with like the browns and the ochres. And I'm assuming that they're more like the riverbeds and the sand colors.
Um, yeah, so you're talking about the earth pigments that I use for
Yes.
that project? Yeah, yeah, I collect earth pigments on the shore of the lakes that I swim in up here in the foothills. I started doing that because I would be swimming, and we call it crocodile eyes. I would be like this with the water, and I'd look at the water, and then I'd look at the shore, and that juxtaposition between the two was just breathtaking in some cases, and always interesting. Different blues and different reds. So I started collecting it, and I started making paint out of it and painting it on the same fabric that I was transferring my underwater photos. So that's what you're seeing, the blues and the greens. The watercolors, I'm printing out the photos, and then I'm on a kind of like an acetate, and then I transfer it onto the cloth.
Oh,
And then I'm making the earth pigment into paint and painting it because I felt like that was the only way for me to show that juxtaposition. Because just taking watercolors and trying to go, oh, let's see, this is kind of doing it. No, I wanted this to be as close to the real thing as I could. So the photo of the water and then the actual dirt, and showing those juxtapositions and how the dirt often does affect the water, the color
mm.
of the water. Because sometimes the lighter color, the orangier, lighter earth pigments, and you'll get a lighter water.
Is that so?
The deeper pigments, sometimes a deeper
Mm,
water. Sometimes.
mm, mm.
Sometimes they don't quite line up like that. So that's also part of my study.
Yes.
Um, yeah, and that's really fun. So what I do is I lately, because I've been doing it more, I take my paddleboard out with me. If I'm going solo, I just take my paddleboard out, and I do my swims, and I tow my board behind me, and
Mm.
then I can collect the pigment and put it on my board. I go to shore and collect and then swim. My favorite thing to do. It's so much fun.
Yeah. Oh, I
On a
could
hot
imagine.
summer day, doing that, spending your hot summer day like that, yeah, it's just kind of my heaven out there in nature, just me.
And it's the best way to stay cool, isn't it? If you're in a lovely place where you can go for a swim, cool that
Yeah,
body temperature down, and also be having fun digging up the dirt and kind of
yeah,
like, yeah, just
yeah,
playing
yeah.
in engaging with your environment.
Yeah, yeah, and I feel like it makes my art project deeper than anything I've done because it's something that I'm physically doing in a
Mm.
very physical way. My whole body, I'm immersing in this. Whereas previous projects have been more thinking things up, maybe working with photographs and getting out there, but mostly studio work, right? You're
Mm.
being affected by your environment, but then creating imagery and studio work. But this is where I'm really immersing my whole body in this, including driving windy mountain roads to find these lakes and immersing myself in the water, paddling out to a spot where you can't get to by foot,
Mm.
no trails, no access for humans to some of these shores, and I'm accessing it by water. I love that too.
Yes.
Yeah, it's been a very fulfilling project
Yes, I
for
can
me
imagine.
anyway.
And like you say, this just sounds like it's the beginning when there's so many other places to go, places to
Hmm.
swim and
Yeah,
to experience. I just love
yeah.
it. And
Great excuse for me to
absolutely,
go. Oh, I need to go there.
just have to, that's right. And we were talking a moment ago about how you like to have a sketchbook in the studio, and the sketchbook contains your explorations, but it also is your exploration in a sense that it's part of the creative journey. And I'd love to know a little bit about what you're planning to share with us for the Making Zen event.
Right. Yeah. So that totally ties into it. So I'm doing a workshop that I'm calling Book Plus Bag. It's actually two books, but I just like the title, Book Plus Bag. And so we're going to be making this little bag. It's based on a Japanese Tsuno Bukuro bag. So it's inspired by that. Made out of one piece of fabric, but you can piece together pieces to make your one piece if you want. And then a couple little books to go inside. So this is a great way. I like to put them in the bag and then fold the bag over, and then there's a little tie also, so you can, then put it in your bigger bag, your travel bag, whatever, and it's keeping everything kind of separate. And you could fit in it a little paint palette and brush, pencil, pen, and more things too. So the two little books that we're make, when I make my journals, my little series journals or notebooks, I usually use like an old file folder, sometimes old typewriter paper. I always try to use recycled materials, and that's what I did with these. These are old, or these are Chemex coffee filters.
Are
The
they?
square ones, they're not quite square. They look square, but they're not exactly square. So you can see the coffee making
Oh, wow.
ex- experience here. So I've painted and drawn a little bit on those. I really love these, and I've
Mm.
made these for a couple travels. Watercolor gets kind of gouache, more of a gouache look on these. Sometimes it really soaks in, but watercolors do nice, pens do nicely on these. So that's what you don't have to, but I always encourage recycled materials. So we're going to make a little ledger binding, really super simple, and then a pamphlet binding, which is what I usually do for my little travel books and my little book for series as
Mm.
well. I just do a little pamphlet book. I'll put in a bunch of pages, old filed folder. I can expand it sometimes if I need to. Yeah, so that's what we're gonna do.
That's so exciting. And it's so fun that you're sharing part of your creative practice with us. And it means that we can all go away and be pseudoscientists and artists and creating in the making, whether we're digging up some dirt from the backyard to turn that into something that goes
Right.
onto the paper, or
Right.
looking at our coffee filters in a creative
Yeah.
way.
Yeah, in a sustainable way too. Yeah. Yeah, especially these days, right? With the prices of everything, I look around my studio before I go to the art supply store, and I try to use whatever I can. And I save things, probably too many things.
Uh, I think sometimes the beauty about recycling or upcycling or thinking about using what you have first rather than going to the store, it kind of challenges us a bit in a sense, and it helps us be more creative
I-
because, if you think, oh, well, I've got to go to the store to get a pad of paper to make a book, you're going to get a pad of
Yeah,
paper to make a book.
yeah,
Whereas if you look
yeah,
around, you might be like, oh, well, look, there's an old paper bag, and
yeah,
oh,
yeah,
look, and you
yeah,
kind of start accumulating things. You might have some
yeah.
tissue paper from a shirt that's been wrapped up, and
Right. And then that informs your creativity. It's like a head start. It's already something interesting.
exactly, exactly, which I think is really helpful for getting rid of
Yeah.
blank
Hmm.
page syndrome, where you're like,
Hmm.
oh, what am I going
Yeah.
to do?
Right.
It's too
Yeah.
precious. I couldn't possibly touch it.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. Jody, it's been so much fun talking to you today. Thank you so much for sharing a little bit about your artistic journey. I just love hearing the way that you think and hearing about how this project that you're working on has legs. It's continuing to grow, so to speak.
And arms.
And arms, that's it, exactly. Thank you for joining me in this creative journey. If you've enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, and share it with your friends. And if you'd like to learn more about Making Zen, please check out the links below where you can find out all about the workshops and creativity, community, and all that kind of good stuff. Wishing you many happy hours of stitching.